Going live on a Friday. You guys, we made it to Friday. It's the 11th of December. The month is kicking on. Next week we'll be halfway there. Not hopefully living on a prayer, but we know Christmas is right around the corner. Days till Christmas. Counting them down. Kids are excited. Kids are ready to go for the Christmas season. Oh, it's Christmas. Christmas for some folks. We're in our second day of Hanukkah. If you're of the Jewish faith, Hanukkah's going on too. Christmas around the corner, Kwanzaa. It's the season of all these different holidays and festivals. It's a bit crazy. A bit crazy, of course. You know what's crazy? These guys' certifications. Offensive security. Good morning, Eric. Good to see you. Offensive security. Man. And you think maybe I held them till Friday because they're red and we wear red on Friday. Friday we wear red. Red Fridays. Remember those folks that are deployed? Nah, that's not why. We held them for the end. We have to, if we're going to be serious about putting together these career paths starting next week, and we might have to start later in the week. Maybe we'll have to start on Tuesday and then push it off into the week of Christmas. I might actually take that week off. I don't know. We may end up putting some of the training paths back because I still want to cover SANS and I still want to cover EC Council. But for sure, I want to cover offensive security, OffSec. Morning, Mike. It's good to see you. The thing about these guys, Richard's just coming in too. Morning, Richard. The thing about these guys is you can't talk about serious pen testing without talking about offensive security. And I mean, Pen Test Plus is good. EC Council CEH is good. Those are like entry level. Those are starting up. GPen from SANS is good. EC Council has the licensed pen tester LPT. I think they may have changed the name of that one. That's good, but they all, in my opinion, pale in comparison to these guys. Now there's some new ones coming out. Maybe we can talk about those. There's new certifications that are putting a good run for it. They all are a little pale compared to the offensive security courses. Some of the content you hear, some of the comments you'll hear about their advanced courses, and I haven't taken any of the advanced courses. Just things like, now that's over, I'll sit in the corner and cry. And these are from people that passed it. These courses, although we'll talk about them like OSCP, or what comes from the class Pen Testing with Cali, is their baseline certification. That's their easiest certification. And it's a bear. It's a monster. And then they go up from there. It gets harder from there. So they call it OSCP, their entry-level certification. It is not, if you're talking about pen testing, OSCP is not entry-level pen test certification. That's if you've been around a while. Advanced pen testers, a lot of advanced pen testers don't have it. So there's some requirements. Some folks talk about like the legal requirements to conduct pen testing. A lot of times you need to have CEH and you have to have GPen from SANS. That's the legal one. If you go talk to somebody that's in the field, somebody that's running a penetration testing team, if they see offensive security certifications on someone's resume, they are going to know that that person understands the concepts of penetration testing. And I'm not just talking about the technical part of it, but as we look at these certifications, you're going to see offensive security makes you do the paperwork too. You don't get away with just going in, taking a multiple choice test, or taking fill in the blank test, or even practical exercises. This whole thing, the entirety of the certification, is a practical exercise. And you'll see when we dive in there, even the easiest one is going to wear a lot of people out. And I'll give you my disclaimer. I have taken pen testing with Backtrack, the older course, when I was doing pen testing. And I never got around to taking the certification because it looms at you. It's out there waiting. So this year I'll be taking PT pen testing with Cali, and then probably one of the more advanced ones later in the year. But it's a monster. when you go through the course and you study and you study and you think you're ready, we'll get into it when we get in there. But it loomed. I put it off until the ability to take the test expired, and I couldn't take the test because and it's just, so I think you got to dive in there and do it. This, if you're worried about A+, or you're worried about Security Plus, or you're worried about CISSP, this one, these certifications are the ones that keep a lot of people up at night. You know, like the guy, like one quote says, just sit in the corner and cry. Today is International Mountain Day, if you need to know what your holiday is for today. International Mountain Day. So let's roll the intro, and then we'll talk about this certification. Give me 1 second. I had class last night. I was teaching class, and I have to change my setup all around because WebEx is terrible. So it makes me change everything around. So let's talk about offensive securities certifications. There we go. Got a button not working. Sticky button. That's not good. Keep stuff from working right. Throws off the rhythm of the morning, but it's Friday. We're going to get through this. We'll be through it. And before you know, we'll know a lot about, that's not right. What do we got going on here? You got a picture and a picture. Look like looking down a mirror on a mirror. So what we're talking about is offensive security and their bouquet of certifications. So this is an overview. This is a high-level overview. Remember, we're going to come back later and look at these certifications in detail later. But this has to be we're setting the stage so that you understand the basics of these certifications before we talk about the career paths. So you got to know the basics. You got to know the basics of these, and you got to know the basics of offensive security certifications if you're going to talk seriously about working in the world of pen testing, red teaming, or even, I would say we could even use this in control assessment. Well, that's not as in-depth and detailed as you need for this. So let's kick this show off and talk about offensive security. So offensive security is an American company working in information security, pen testing, and digital forensics. Got a weird square bracket there. That's because this write-up came from Wikipedia, and that was the reference. Operating from around 2007, the company created open source projects, advanced security courses, ExploitDB, a vulnerability database, and the Kali distribution, right? You know the Kali distribution. Anybody that's doing pen testing knows the Kali distribution, Kali Linux. These guys here, offensive security, created and maintain Kali. So if you're talking about anything, you talk about these guys are the guys to go to for pen testing experience. So if you are serious about this career track, if you're serious about the working in pen testing, and I'm saying if you're at zero now, if you don't know anything at all about security, and you want to be a pen tester, your path, I would say, is at a minimum of 5 years long to get to where you need to be a good pen tester and be able to compete on these things. And I keep getting that. Okay, not that. Thought I had double screen going on. It's just the picture. Anyways, just the technical difficulties back here. So you're gonna need to go through this. You're gonna need to go through some of the base stuff. You're gonna have to do the Security Plus. You're gonna have to do CEH probably. You're gonna have to maybe do Pen Test Plus. I would say go through and do GPen from SANS first, and then tackle these guys. I would tackle these guys 3 to 4 years into your security career that you've been around a while. You're going to have to start learning scripting, start learning how to use Kali and Linux as a general Linux and Kali specifically. Learn some of the tools. There's a ton of tools on Linux, on the Kali distro, before you jump into these courses. And this is, we talk about Kali Linux, and this is the framework around the courseware you're going to take is frameworked around Kali Linux. And that's a good thing because that's what most people in the field use. If you're in pen testing, you're probably going to use Kali Linux of some way, shape, or form. They offer, if you want the distros, they offer the distros, the distributions of Kali Linux you can get from Offensive Security as well. So you can go there and download a virtual machine, download the ISO or the disk image, get it for different devices. They maintain Linux, Kali Linux very, very well. So here's the lineup. There's 5 courses and 5 certifications that you can get from Offensive Security. OSCP, OSWP, OSWE, OSEP, and the master, the mother of all of them, the monster that will keep you up at night, the OSEE. If you're a person out there and you're working in pen testing and you see somebody with OSEE, yeah, they know their stuff. This is mostly Windows exploit, but most of the world is Windows. 80 to 90% of the environment's Windows. The OSEE focuses on Windows, but you've got to get there. You're going to have to go through attacking Linux machines and things like that. So let's look at these things. Let's start with their baby. This is the one. Everything starts with here. They being Offensive Security, do not recommend you take any classes or certifications until you have taken pen testing with Kali or penetration testing with Kali Linux. Their Pen 200 course. So the first bullet is the course that teaches you this. So you take the course and then you can sit for the certification. So the certification simulates a live network in a separate VPN or virtual private network, which contains a small number of vulnerable machines. Once you sit for the certification, after you've taken the course, once you start your certification, you'll have 23 hours and 45 minutes to complete the challenge itself. That's showing you know what you're doing, showing you know what you've learned in the Pen 200 course, showing you know how to execute a penetration test. So you got 23 hours and 45 minutes to do the test, and then you've got 24 hours to send your documentation to the Offensive Security Challenges Department, and that's your report. Get that. Not easy. Not an easy course. To go through this, your training is 17 hours of video, an 850-page PDF course guide, over 70 virtual machines you can deal with, active student forums, and access to the virtual lab environment. And that last one, do not overlook that. That's going to be where you're going to go in there and get your chops. The training, if it's anything close to the pen tasting with Backtrack that I took years ago, it was exceptional training. It's on par with the SAN stuff. But as you're going to see, it's pricey, but it's far less than the SANS course. And this is a good certification. This certification will set you apart in the penetration testing field and in the security field as a general. So the packages, this is where you're really going to want to look at. You want to look at the package, and I would say if I was taking it, and when I go to take it later this year, I'm going to do that third package, the Pen 200 with 90 days of lab access and the OSCP examination fee, $13.49. That's essentially what you're going to make. If you're going to do it faster, if you can devote your time, the first one for $9.99, 90 days of lab access. The lab access is the only difference here. But you're going to have to be hustling. You need time in the lab. You need time in the lab going over this stuff. You got to spend the time. I'm saying a month to a month and a half, maybe 2 months of 2 hours a day, consistently. So 5 days a week, I would say maybe even leave your weekends alone. But 2 months, if you leave your weekends alone, 2 hours a day to be ready to take this exam. Now, the second block there, retake fees, you might as well just plan on doing a retake. Just plan on taking a retake. That way, if you need it, you got it. So for me, I'm going to plan on $13.49. I'm going to plan $150 just for a retake fee, just in case, right? If you need more time in the lab, you can buy more time in the lab, 30, 60, and 90-day blocks for $359, $599, and $799, and then you can upgrade. So if you have taken one of the earlier versions, like me, I took say I passed the certification. Had I taken it and passed the certification, I would have been one of the bottom ones. Pen testing with backtrack, probably it was version 2. It'd been $500 for me to upgrade. Version 3, $400. If I took the earlier version of Pen Test 200, upgrading the earlier version of pen testing with Kali to the latest version is $199. There's a lot of new material. In 2020, they updated the entire course, so there's brand new stuff in there. It's good. It's good information. So again, this is their bottom level certification, and it's a bear. If you see anybody's got OSCP, give them thumbs up. They're good to go. They've got it taken care of. They know what they're doing, because you have to go in and prove you know what you're doing. It's not a brain dump. It's not a cram. You can't go in there and be ready the night before. You have to spend consistent time in the lab. You have to pay attention to their courseware, and then you have to spend time in the lab doing what they teach you. And you just got to do it. So for 90 days, I'll probably spend an hour, 2 hours a day in their labs, just working around the constructs and the things that they have taught. Great certification. And even if you don't take the certification, you might say, well, when I took the pen testing with Kali course, what's the value if you don't take the certification? There is a ton of value even if you don't go through the certification. The training itself is worth the $1,000. Look at, a course at SANS is $7,000. This is 1/7 of that. I can't give these guys enough praise. Great courseware. The next one is wireless attacks. They're Pen 210. This is the offensive security, like wireless professional. Thought I had it on there. Oh yeah, well, it's on top. Sorry, I did put it on top. Offensive security wireless professional has a 4-hour time limit. Requires you connect to our dedicated lab via SSH, secure shell. You'll encounter several wireless networks, varying configurations, conduct wireless information gathering, and implement various attacks to get access to the target networks. As part of the exam, again, you must submit a comprehensive penetration test report. It should contain in-depth notes and screenshots detailing your findings, including the steps you took to crack each network. In this one, you get about 3.5 hours of instructional video, a 380-page course guide, active student forums, and access to a home lab setup. So you're not going to get access to their lab until you go to take the exam. You got to do it in 4 hours. This one's not 24 hours. Their short one is 4 hours, right? This is their short course, 3.5 hours instructional video. Again, you're gonna have to spend time in the lab. So it's $450 to take the course and the exam certification fee. If you're upgrading from the earlier version, it's gonna be $100, and a retake fee for this one is $150. This is what they call Wi-Fi foo. If you ever hear them talking about that, they're talking about the OSWP. This is a new course. This was part of Cracking the Perimeter, a course that offensive security had in the past. The course you'll take is Evasion Techniques and Breaching Defenses, or Penetrate, or Pen 300. This one is a 48-hour exam. It consists on hands-on web application assessment in our VPN, isolated VPN. Within the exam environment, students attack various web applications and operating systems, so both web and OS. Points are awarded for each compromised application based on their difficulty and level of access obtained. So think about that. You've got to do web attacks and system attacks. So you have to do both of the, you don't have to do. You should do both of the previous courses and certifications before you sit for this one. All right. This one, you get 10 hours of video series, a PDF, about 410 pages PDF course guide, private labs, active forums, and access to the virtual lab environment. So this is kind of the top certification in their pen testing track, right? In the pen testing track, this is the top of that track. And I'm not saying it's top of their environment, or their certification world, but it's top in their track, right? So here's the package you can take. You can get the course, 60 days lab access, and OSEP examination fee for $12.99, or 90 days of lab access for $14.99. You see that on here they don't even offer 30 days. They're like, no, 30 days. You're not going to even get to. You got to do 90 or 60 days. Retest fees $200, and then you can extend the lab 30, 60, or 90 days for $5, and the same price we saw before, $359, $599, or $799. Again, if I was doing something like this, I would probably plan on 180 days or 120 days. I would spend some time getting ready for this one. Maybe I take that back. Maybe if you've done them kind of fairly close together, if you've done the first two and this one, you'd have hours in the lab from OSCP, and then you get this one. Offensive Security Experienced Penetration Tester. And that's exactly what you would be. If you are coming out of this one, you'll be seen as an experienced pen tester. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. So after their web, specific web certification, there was the little one you talked about earlier. Talked a little bit about that one in that last certification. This class is the Advanced Web Attacks and Exploitation, Web 300. Notice we changed the prefix now. We're in the web track. So this is the offensive. This is the wrong. Hold on, guys. I've got the wrong information here, and I apologize. I'm going to escape here. Why do I have the wrong stuff? I guess because it was late last night when I was putting this together, and I have no excuse for it. Let me get you the. There's not. Here we go. Web 300. Stick with me for a second here. I'll get you the right. Let me see something I might have. No, I didn't flip those around. Let me get you the right information, because I have the wrong information here. How did I mix that up? I remember copying this yesterday. Trying to do two things at one time. That'll get you every time. So let's fix this. It's just this part here is wrong. There we go. Let's get back to the show now. Sorry about that, folks. So this is a 48-hour exam consisting of hands-on web application assessments in our isolated VPN network. With the exam environment, students attack various web applications and operating system. Points awarded for each compromised system. Right? And the based on difficulty level. Students who obtain the points and needed to pass. Students if you get the points you need to pass, you must submit a web application assessment report, in-depth notes, and screenshots detailed the findings. And this exam is proctored. When we talk about these reports, you're graded on the report as well. So you can do excellent in the actual attack, but you have to do the paperwork too. And that's important because a lot of people think they're going to get into pen testing, and it's just doing the attack. It's just doing the technical stuff. And I'm going to tell you, the technical stuff is like 25 or 30% of what you're going to do. You're going to do a lot of writing in penetration testing. In this course, you get 19 hours of video, 700-page PDF course guide, active student forums, access to virtual labs, all that stuff. Here's your rundown. Web 300 with your lab access, 30 days. And the exam fee, $9.99, 60 days, $12.99, 90 days, $14.99. Retake fee is $200. Extensions, 30, 60, 90, or 500, 700, 900. Nice even numbers now. And then if you're upgrading from the earlier version with lab access, 30 days lab access is $99, 60-day lab access, $299, 90-day lab access, $499 if you're upgrading from the earlier version. So getting the course material, getting the lab time, so you got to go in the lab and redo it. So upgrading in these worlds is not upgrading like in other worlds. So if you're upgrading here, you got to go back in the lab. You got to get back in the lab and prove it. So the last one, OSEE, OSEE, Offensive Security Exploitation Expert. This is a crazy one, right? So this one is Advanced Windows Exploitation, EXP 401. Advanced Windows Exploitation is a particularly demanding penetration testing course and requires a significant amount of student and instructor interaction. Therefore, we limit AWE courses to live, hands-on environments at Black Hat, Las Vegas, Nevada. So this is a course you have to go to Las Vegas. Unless you have enough people, they'll come to you if you have enough people to teach it. As you see on their website right now, they're going to London to teach it in London. Otherwise, you got to go to Black Hat. And the hardest part, I have not, don't get me wrong, I have not taken this one. But according to the people that have taken it, the hardest part, I guess one of the hardest parts, I should say the hardest part of the difficulty in this one is it sells out almost immediately. So at Black Hat, you got to be there early. You got to be in line. You got to get this one. If you don't make it, they just sell out, and that's it. You can't pre-buy it. You got to buy it. You got to buy it from Black Hat. Offensive Security doesn't control the registration to this. It's all controlled by Black Hat. And you got to go there to take it. It's in class with an instructor, no online version, and you take the test right there. It's the hardest course we offer. It requires significant time investment. Students need to commit to reading case studies and reviewing the provided reading material each evening. So you're going to go through training all day long, and then at night you're going to just be reading. The virtual lab environment has a limited number of target systems. The software within contains specific unknown vulnerabilities, and students have 72 hours to develop and document exploits. The exam requires stable, high-speed internet connection, and you must submit a comprehensive penetration testing report as part of the exam. It should contain in-depth notes and screenshots detailing the steps taken and exploitation methods used. On Offensive Security site, they don't tell you how much this course costs. And I think that's because it may vary from year to year, given that it's taught at Black Hat. And is this really off the screen? What in the world, guys? Is it really showing up off the screen? How is that happening? I can't adjust it there. Let me go back to it. I can't believe it really is off the screen. Part of the display settings here, I guess. So let me do this. Let me end it. Let me end it. Escape out of this and bring you back to this view, just the PowerPoint view, so you can see this. Let's zoom in. There we go. Weird that it's doing that. Sorry, guys. So it's $5,000 according to this guy, Itaz Motion. This is on his LinkedIn account. He has a description of his experience at Black Hat taking the OSEE, and that's where I got the $5,000 figure from. You can spend a lot of this one is top of the line for offensive security. If you go look out this guy has a very detailed overview of what he went through, what it was all about, and how he signed up for it, the course and everything. This is the top of their line. So let me roll up to this one. Did this one get cut off too? Full screen doesn't. So this is their lineup. This is Offensive Security's lineup. These first OSCP, OSWP, OSWE. Oh no, excuse me, that's out of order. OSCP, OSWP, and OSEP are their pen testing courses. Those are all in line. Then there's the web exploit, and then finally at the top of their list is the OSEE. A little bit of PowerPoint problems this morning, guys. Apologize for that. What are your thoughts on offensive security stuff? The stuff that offensive security offers, these courses, these certifications. What do you guys think? If you see these on people's resumes, you'll know they've been around a bit. Been around, understand what's going on. I don't know. Yeah. I'll be back on the horse. I'll be on the back on the horse doing OSCP this year, finishing out. I've been doing this stuff, like you said. I've been doing this stuff for 30 years, guys, and just taking finally getting around to taking their base certification. Again, I'm taking the course, just haven't taken certification. That's part of what we're doing at my day job. We're overdoing this. NC Worker, good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. So that's where we're at. That's what we're talking about this morning. That rounds out the week of talking about certifications. I know we got a little bit more to talk about, but at this point, we can talk about career tracks. I probably will spend some time. Yes, there is. There's a website for their certifications. And it's offensive-security.com. Put that on the screen. There's my overlays. Overlay. This is them. Offensivesecurity.com will take you to their site. These guys they've got awesome certifications. How to jump from RMF just to do penetration tests. Are you talking about on the video in life, or are you talking about just in what we're talking about here in the mornings? We're talking about certifications this week, so that's how we got to penetration testing. This is, yeah, okay, Mike, rephrase it. Yeah, if you're interested in penetration testing, you got to give these guys get on those certifications. I wouldn't jump right into them. I wouldn't have them be your first certification, that's for sure. At work. I've been, I guess it's because of the work I did in the Army. So in the Army, I was on the Army Red Team, supported that through my Army Reserve affiliation. And did some pen testing there, did some wireless pen testing, got into it there. I worked with in a pen testing world in the intelligence community, doing pen testing there. And it's just security. I've been around security since it was starting and seen a lot of these things grow. So yeah, I do a lot of RMF stuff, but I do a lot of security stuff too. So in my day job, I'm an engineer, and the engineering team I run has penetration testing as well. So we do engineering and penetration testing, as well as regular security control assessments and risk management as well. We have actually a separate function that does risk management. But yeah, just I've been doing this for a long time, and that's how I've done pen testing and risk management. I've done pretty much everything in security because I've seen it grow. Now, there's some definitely folks in the field that have been around longer than I have and have more experience. And I haven't focused just on one area. So I've been doing different things for 30 years. So I've been all over the place. The stories that we could talk about over beer sometime, or your favorite beverage, would be pretty good. So we were on a technical development team. Was on the time, the reserve company that I was in when I got out of the active component, went in the reserves, actually after 9/11, when I did break and surface. I came back after 9/11 and joined a unit, and then jumped to a unit that was part of Information Operations Command. And the company that I was part of was a computer network attack company. They've changed the names of these things since then. Now they became Dynamic Defense, and then they became something else well after I left. But it was a computer network attack company, and it was kind of when this stuff was just starting, when the certifications around this stuff was just spinning up. So I've done a lot, guys. Yeah, Mike, I agree. Meet up somewhere and do it over adult beverages when all this lockdown's over. That's for sure. Yeah, so I've done risk management. I've done pure risk management. I've done ISM and ISO work. I've done penetration testing. I've done um, gosh, just about everything, tech writing, instructional stuff. But now I've done this stuff for 30 years, and I've got to this point in my career. This is the point I need to share what I can with the people coming up now. There was no path. Some of these things didn't exist. Well, many of these things didn't exist when I started. It was InfoSec back then. Yeah, people were in InfoSec. So we'll build the paths. We'll build a framework that can get younger people into the field and get them where they need to go, so they're not wandering around. Part of the reason I did so many things is because the field was evolving, the field was growing, and part of this was because there was no roadmap. I did a lot of years out here in DC, in the DC area, as a consultant or a contractor, and the way that world, that's a dangerous world, but you're going to get a lot of experience because you'll come out on one contract. When that contract's up, you have to find another job. So you find another job in security. It may be doing something totally different, but you're still qualified for it, so you go do that for a couple of years. And then you go do something else for a couple of years. Heck, I built audit programs for a couple of years. There's stuff you just, consulting, contracting, you're going to go from job to job, and you can do different things. Some people in the field are very, very focused. They started out in pen testing. 20 years later, they're still doing pen testing, and they can tell you everything that you need to know about pen testing across the board. Honestly, I'm going to tell you I'm more of a generalist. I know a lot about the different areas in security, but for you guys, I want to make sure you have paths. If you want to be a pen tester, let's lay out that path. Here's what you need to do from start, day one, to 5 or 10 years in. After that, it's kind of a crapshoot. After that, who knows what things are going to be like in 10 years, right? If you want to be an ISO, we'll tell you ISO and security analyst. If you want to be in that track, what's that look like? If you want to be in leadership, what's that look like? If you want to be in forensics, what does that look like? That's a tougher field, though. We won't spend a lot of time building that one because an area I'm not really deep in. I've spent some time doing forensics, but as it relates to pen testing. So that's where we're at. It is Friday. I'm glad you guys could be here this morning. Glad we could talk about this stuff, but let's wrap this up. Let's get on with it. Yeah, jack of all trades. Yeah, master of none. Maybe that's what they say. In security, in technology, they call it general. If you become a generalist, you know a little bit about a bunch of stuff. It is, Mike. It's a jack of all trades. I spent a lot of time risk management. The reason I focus more on risk management is because there's not a lot of people focusing on risk management. I was around when RMF started. I helped create some of the documentation, was on the task force that helped create 853 revision 4, the older catalog, not the new one, and brought a lot of the communities into RMF. Helped bring FBI into RMF. I guided the FBI into RMF, and a couple other organizations I can't talk about. So, yeah, there's a need for generals, but there's a need for the generals and more in the leadership track, honestly, and people that focus on the technical end up in highly technical positions. But there's a way you can progress either way. Some fields, if you end up in the technical side of it, you can only go so far. In security, there's real no top. If you're a highly experienced penetration tester or forensics person, or any other field, that you can keep moving up and up and up. There's always more to learn. If you go the other track, if you end up in the leadership side of it, and sometimes you end up in the leadership side of it on accident, but you can there's always positions up. There's management, directorships, CISOs, CISOs. There's all kinds of positions to move through. So that's what I'm going to say. And that's what we'll start talking about next week. We'll start talking about these career paths. How do you get from where you're at today? And I'm just going to assume everybody's starting at 0, and then you can put yourself out on the path wherever you're actually at. And this is going to be the path that as I see the world. So I'd love to hear your feedback as we build the paths. But that'll be next week. Monday we'll start that. And we'll figure out when we're going to talk about SANS and EC Council. But this week we have, if you haven't seen them already, we've talked about today, obviously we talked about offensive security. Yesterday we talked about ISC squared, day before ISACA, and before that we talked about CompTIA and their certification. You should have an understanding of all those certifications now, so when we start throwing them on the screen next week, it should be good to go. So that being said, take care of your friends, your family, your coworkers. Have a good weekend. If you can, hit the subscribe button that's down there by the red coffee. Subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up. Share with your friends if you can. Hit the bell to be notified. All the things the YouTubers say. It helps the channel. It helps with our logarithm. Helps us get uncovered and all that stuff. I interview for jobs every week, and they need people across the board. Yeah. And the funny thing is, the next year in 2021, they say 4 million jobs short in security. Where they're all at, I don't know. There's going to be some probably all across the board. But Mike, you're right. Across the board, people are looking. And I got to tell you guys, and we talked a lot about higher education, college degrees. And I had a position. I've got the engineers that are on the team I work with. My team are advanced. They're top of their game. They've been around a long time, and we're looking to fill a position. We filled the position. I think we filled it yesterday. And a lot of people are, yeah, you got it. A lot of the people on the team have master's degrees and bachelor's degrees. A lot of master's degrees. The guy we hired has an associate's degree, and he's got the skills. I would have hired him without a degree at all, because he's got the skill set, and he could have got that on his own. A lot of stuff is you can download. You can download Kali Linux. You can download Nessus. You can download Qualys. You can use Qualys in their sandbox. You can download and use Splunk. All these tools you can download. It's finding time, building the plan, and starting using the tools. And that's really what next week is all about. There's going to be a tool you need to learn. If you're talking about pen testing, you've got to get Kali. Kali's free. It runs in a virtual environment. It runs as a live disk. It'll run on an old machine. Build a virtual lab. Go to town. Get hands-on. Ton of tools in there. We're going to talk about all that. There's a ton of tools. But anyways, I'm going to leave you with that. That's what we talk about. Sorry about the technical hiccups this morning. That happens sometimes. But anyways, as I say, take care of your friends, family, coworkers. Take care of each other. This is a community. Join us on the Facebook channel if you want to talk more about this. Keep the conversation going. If you want to listen to it in the audio-only format, we do push it out on all of the podcast environments. You can go find us on all of those places you get your podcast from. I'm not sure even what all of them are. We use a distribution service, so it just pushes them out everywhere after 9 o'clock. It'll go out to everybody. So until Monday, we'll see you guys. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there, and take care of your friends, man. Take care, everybody. We'll see you then.